With their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done.
Hello. Let me just turn the music off and stick Discord on. Hopefully Discord's working. I'm hoping Discord's working. If not, it's going to be really annoying.
It is working.
Well, it says it's working, but these things always, like when it went out with Zenith the other night, it didn't work for some reason. So you never know. That's the problem. Oof. So if those of you on YouTube, if you can't hear Discord, let me know, because there are a few people who jumped in. Even Ting's there, and at the moment he's unmuted, which is very unlike the Tingos, to be honest with you. Anyway, oh, there we go. Ting says something, but it's in code, as per usual. So, I wanted to do it yesterday, but I had the Asian stream Pro Series followed by bloody mosquitoes, followed by the EU stream. So I just moved it to today. Who have we got then? We've got Stijin, the deal for real, who's also in this. Blown up. Hello, Barney and Buddies. Hello, Funkelbury Finn. Hello. There can be only one. Who else is there? Max Moss, who's coming back. Yayit. And at the moment on Discord we got Not Banana Joe, the Tingos, Jory, Kareem, and the deal for real. So, wowzers. We haven't got loads to talk about, to be fair, but as per usual, Blitz this week is not without controversy. Again, from people saying that maybe, just maybe, Loka or raid through the game against Loka to ensure Loka got into the top bracket. Jor is still out. I'm not going to come to any conclusions on that. Didn't see the game. Have no idea. Maybe Loka just played well. I have no idea. Two YouTubers being potentially copyright striked and having their channels taken down. Yeah, a YouTube. Well, only one YouTuber. But
one YouTuber.
Yeah, only one. Two YouTubers. I mean, two as in TOO. Sorry. Yeah, only one YouTuber is being potentially copyright striked. But having a wrist slap, well, I think it's a bit harsher than a wrist slap by Wargaming for doing something silly, to be honest. But hey, all things happen. But I'm not going to talk about that. I mean, it clearly works for him. He clearly likes the controversy. He's no stranger to it. Gets him subs, gets him views. Fair play to the guy. Clever marketer or complete muppet? Your call. I think it's clever marketer. Mixed in with a bit of else. Who knows, though? He certainly knows what the mob wants, let's say. And you can't knock him for that. Let's be honest. You can knock him for a lot of things, you can knock me for a lot of things, but you can't knock him for being smart when it comes to increasing his popularity. Fair play to him at the end of the day. Yeah. Next point on the controversy trail. If anybody has been watching the EU Pro Series, I think we can put our hands up and say, without a shadow of a doubt, that either A, APA's aimbots are just not worth the money because they're not working, or B, there is no aimbot. It's just simple as that. They came second to last in the tournament group stage. So either that aimbot is crap and don't buy it because it really is pants because they didn't play very well, or they're not using aimbots, guys. It's that straightforward. Again, up to you to decide. I'm not going to comment either way, other than what I've just said. But yeah, it was a bit of a, to be honest with you, the Group 7 stage yesterday was a little bit of a damp squib, to be fair. Jory, I know you're in the chat. What went wrong, mate?
Well, what do you mean?
Well, you got turned over by souls.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that we forgot about that.
We knew that we were not in the top 4, so.
I actually said that on one of the streams that because you knew you weren't going to probably make it into the upper bracket, because a lot depended on what was going to go on around you. Then then it was just let's just get it over and done with. And I think that's what APA did as well. A lot of people were saying that APA were basically throwing the game. I don't think they were. I think it was just a case of, look, we can't go anywhere. We are where we are, so let's get it over and done with quickly. There's no point making a fight out of this. And I think that's all that's all they were intending to do. And maybe there's some of that in what Legion did as well. I don't know. I don't know if Endgame in Raid made a game of it. I didn't see that game, unfortunately. But yeah, a lot of people thought it was a bit damp. But you have to appreciate they have to probably save themselves for the next rounds. Simple as that. Realistically, get it over and done with. Have a rest until the 21st, isn't it? 21st is the round one.
24th.
24th. There you go. So that's all good.
Well, 24th is when it finishes and they can't play tournament.
Yeah, and Maddox is still trying to work out, I think, what's going on with all the tiebreakers that's happened in Asia, because there's a lot. There is a lot. Don't know what I know that the standings are, but well, you sort of know what the standings are, but then it all matches up later. So it's going to be an interesting one. Asia's going to be interesting, to be honest with you.
Right.
It was good. The last group stages in Asia were quite tight, so they had a lot more to play for than in the EU games, because there were a lot of people vying for position. So that was interesting. And I noticed, Jory, you're now sporting R2K.
I am.
So I know potentially there was something in the lines about resurrection. So has that been done now, or is it being done after the spring tour?
Sorry, what did you say?
R2K, because obviously you were Vale.
Yeah.
You're still Vale, I assume. Well, they've just changed the name to R2K. What have they done?
Oh, we went to the clan R2K.
Oh,
We
okay.
didn't change the name.
Now, does that affect the lower bracket, though?
I don't think so.
No. Well, there you go. So, congratulations anyway, mate.
Thank you.
So, did you enjoy the tournament so far? Getting your camos and your pro avatars?
I did. Yeah, I reached my goal. I already reached my goal, so I'm happy with that.
So, have you played much in a sort of like other game modes like random? With
Oh god, he went out with me the other day, and all of a sudden everyone was saying, "Oh, we got a pro in the team. Oh, there's a pro."
Oh, like, is it? Oh, how is the feeling of having pro avatar?
It's nice to have.
It's very hard to get. So congratulations on getting it, mate.
Yeah, thank you.
Because it's not the easiest thing to get, and not many people have got it, and it's well deserved. So well done, mate. And
Yeah.
Ting would get one if he learned how to play touch.
Yeah, that's for sure. For sure.
But his Ting is just being Ting, and no, I'm not playing touch.
Touch is boring.
But you definitely get a pro avatar if he's played touch, mate. If you learn to play touch, that is, you'd be fine. So, oh, Fizz is sent to replay. So, just going to play this one. Not much else has
Good
happened.
evening.
Good evening. Not much else has happened. Matthew has changed clans as well, I believed.
Yes.
So Matthew used to be NNN. He is now Zenith. Ooh.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah, buddy.
So a lot of changes going on. It's that time of year, and
Yeah, I'm still free to play.
well, I rolled out in a tier 10 tournament with Zenith the other day, and it was interesting. To be honest with you, I'm due to get an insta ban from their Discord for pointing out that I got more damage than Yeetabix. But hey. I said
The
I
thing
tried
is,
to.
for tournaments though, you cannot only see the damage, you need to
I know,
see
I know.
their contribution.
Well, I did say that to him. I did say I tried to follow your lead and get 0 damage a few times, but I just couldn't do it. Sorry, mate. But no, it was interesting, and it is still different.
It was stronger than I thought.
It's yeah. I mean, when you're talking to some top players here, not me. Matthew's a good player. Maddox is a good player. Kareem, Jory, Ting, they're all really good players. I mean, two of those are definitely pros. That's Maddox and Jory, who both got pro avatars and played in the big time. And the thing is, for a nab like me, it is a lot different playing those type of tournaments. To be fair, it's a lot scarier, and you're a lot more nervous because you just don't feel that you're good enough to be there, and it's tough. It is tough, but I enjoyed every minute of it, and I enjoyed smacking Phoenix's last Sheridan on the last game with 15 points to go. I really enjoyed that. That was nice. But yeah, it's different. So fair play to the likes of Maddox and Jory. I don't think I could do what you guys do. It's I mean, that was just a season coins tournament, for God's sake. You guys are playing in the pros. I mean, it must be nervous. Seriously, you must be nervous before you roll out, are you?
Yeah, I am. Of course, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
What sort of mindset do you try and put yourselves in before you roll out? I mean, do you before the battle starts, you sort of do a training room and sort of try and get to positions?
Yeah,
and
most of the time we have a warm up with another clan,
Mm-hmm.
and that really helps. And, most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, because obviously most players just roll out in normal either quick tours or these type of tours, and it's sort of they have to an extent sometimes they have a blasé attitude to the tournament, and obviously they try to do well, they try to do their best, etc., etc. But you guys take it to the next level with your strats and your choice of what meta you're going to roll out in, etc., etc. So, you know, trying to understand how you guys get into the groove for a game is something that's not common to most players. I wouldn't have thought. I mean, when I turn up for a quick tournament, I just turn on and say I'm here, sod it. Whereas you can't do that in a pro tour, so surely you can't. And
Well, I mean, in pro tours, you basically done all of your preparations beforehand,
Mhm.
and basically in the game, you're just trying to react to situations that are out of hand, and that's really where your skill and your knowledge as a pro player really comes out on top.
yeah,
Like, that's really where the race begins, and you can see some of the teams that are not definitely have their hands prepared
Mhm.
going into the games, and you can definitely see some of the teams that are not really well prepared going into the games. You can see them panicking sometimes, just
Yeah.
from how they move, and sometimes even myself would panic a bit if I'm thrown into a clutch situation, and yeah.
Well, I saw that the other day. I mean, when I was streaming E7 against ID, and they're on Canal, and for example, I mean, E7 had clearly got their strat down, and then they lost a tank really, really early. And I mean, really early. And I mean, I can't remember who it was now, but he sort of went out with, I don't know, doing either 0 damage or hardly any damage. And obviously, you know, you can't really prepare for those type of stuff. He didn't do anything wrong, by the way. He didn't put himself out of position or anything. He just got rushed when he was getting to the position he was in. And I mean, you know, when we're in our little tournaments, quick tournaments and stuff, we just call the guy a noob and move on. But I mean, it's got to change your entire mentality. Well, I say that, and this is what I'm trying to get across when I went out with Zenith the other day. You're told, I mean, it's the first time I've been told just to take a position and just stay in that position and do a roll, nothing else. And you don't get that in the random tournaments. I mean, in the random tournaments, you say, right, we're just going to do this, we'll go to this cap, we'll go to that cap. You don't assign, normally in random tournaments, well, maybe other clans do, but my clan certainly didn't. You don't assign tanks to specific places to do a specific role. And in one of the games, we're on Fort Despair, and I was told to roll to a particular point on Fort Despair in an IS-4 and basically not move. And I just got rushed and absolutely wasted. But the point that was made to me was, that's okay. You were there to get wasted, effectively. You were there to hold them up until the rest of the team came round. Try and obviously bounce as much as you can, etc., etc. And that's sort of a different mentality that you all have in these higher level of gameplay that the randoms and the quick tournaments don't really have. And, you know, it must throw you when a situation like I was just saying with E7 happens, when you lose a tank so quickly. the temptation to say, sod it, let's rotate now over to this side, it's got to be a big temptation, surely.
Yeah, it sometimes is a big temptation to immediately react to a tank being lost, but like it really depends. If you're in a good position to farm their rush, it might actually be better off just to sit there and farm them off. Like the temptation is there, but with experience, like most of the top teams would have learned that they probably should have stayed what they've been doing and actually just get the best out of the situation that they're in.
Yeah, because that's the way the difference is. Because as I said, in the quick tours, then generally you tend to find that the clans react immediately to what's going on the ground. So if they see, for example, a single bat chat on the right hand side, everybody say, take the bat chat out, and the bat chat is probably all alone, but the rest of the team is probably on the left hand side, and it makes a big problem. Whereas you guys sort of don't react in the same way, and it must be difficult to, especially for the newer players coming in. They're still pros, but it must be difficult to keep that temptation to react immediately really down. I found it difficult, to be fair, when I went out with Zenith, because there is a temptation to say, sod it, I'm going to go for that tank, and you're being told, no, you've definitely got to go for this tank. You have no choice, and you follow what I'm telling you. It's that way. Maybe it's just because I'm a nab and I don't play at that level. Maybe. And for you guys, it just comes as second nature. It's like, oh, sod it. We all know we've got to focus the low hit point tanks. We all know who's got to get out the game. And maybe I'm just a complete nab, and it's just a shock to my system.
No, really, it's actually just about the experience, because like even when I first started tournaments, I have a bunch of videos about like that I recorded back then. We still, back when we started, when I started my first tournaments, even me, I was trying to figure out what's correct, what should be done in that situation, what should be done in this situation. It's just really an accumulation of experience of what works and what not.
Yeah.
And it's just really, it just really shows, because like it's really accumulation of trial and error, and most of the teams, newer teams, the reason why they're not in top level playing a field is just because that they don't have that experience of knowing what is right and what is wrong.
Well, that makes sense. What does make sense?
What's right and what's wrong, but like what you should be doing versus what you're doing.
Yeah. For those of you on YouTube, Maddox is in Feast, which is one of the top clans, if not the top clan, on the Asian server, and so that's who's talking right now. In case you're wondering. But somebody's asked here, a guy called Coach Mike 27 says, just out of interest, do the pros print out the maps and highlight areas where they're going to go?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, well, there you go, Mike. They do. Do you use strat sketch or whatever it's called in the other sort of things that you've got?
Yeah, what that tactic?
We always use strat sketch.
Yeah. Because that's a really good one. I mean, don't get me wrong. Blitzstar, not Blitzstars. What's it called? There is Map Inspector. Map Inspector's okay, but I find that strat sketch is a bit easier to sort of do all the lines and work out your strats. So yeah, that doesn't surprise me you use that. But you need to, surely, the other thing is you need to know your maps like the back of the hand, surely. You have to know all the dips and all the bumps and everything.
You have to know how people, or you placing tanks, like how other people think, that helps a lot.
Well, like I said, Kareem, I mean, when I went out with Zenith, I mean, Wotb knows exactly where he wants that tank to be, and don't go further forward than, this particular blade of grass sometimes with him. And, with you pro teams, because you must know the maps unbelievably well to know exactly all the dumps, dips, where your best all-down position is, where your best side scraping is on Fort Despair, for example, etc., etc. So, I mean, that's got to take some experience, surely.
Yeah, and really, whenever a new map comes out and gets thrown into the map pool, it often takes us a long time to really figure out how do you even play this map.
like
So
Hellas,
let's
which was taken out of the tour series, thankfully, in the end. But that was
see,
yeah.
so you would see Fee still struggling in maps like New Bay or
Mm.
recently added Hellas. Like we would still struggle very much in these maps because most of the time we still don't know how the meta flows in these maps, or
Yeah.
like it's just a mess sometimes.
Well, that's the other thing that if people online, if you've been watching the group stages, the other thing that you can see is the teams generally have almost, to be fair, the same meta for each map and each spawn point. To be fair, so for example, on Fort Despair, when you're spawning in what Rolling would call the south spawn, I've seen a lot of teams take a big heavy like an E100 or even a mouse to get to that sort of blown up building in the corner and side scrape off that overlooking B. It's always interested me that you guys must spend hours going through you know which tanks are going to be good anyway, but you must spend hours going through which meta is going to work for which spawn point. Or not.
Yeah, that's actually it's actually an interesting point. I actually didn't notice that myself. But yeah, I do think that there is such a tendency of pro teams doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's probably back to the map knowledge thing, like how if you roll out the heavy tank in this spot in this spawn,
Mm-hmm.
avoid some of the danger you would get if you roll it out in a mirror spot in another spawn. And at the same time, not all the maps are symmetrical, and definitely there are maps like they have a spawn advantage. For example, you can see, like, as we know, Vineyard and Middleburg are probably two maps that are pretty asymmetrical. Like, asymmetrical maps plays a lot in the roles in terms of determining what we should bring in what spawn.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, I've from streaming it, you see that depending on which spawn you're on, there is different meta taken for, say, Port Bay, quite a lot, and there's certainly different meta taken for Fort Despair depending on the spawn, and it is interesting to watch because when over a period of time you get to realise that the teams are sort of taking the same, maybe not the same tanks, but the same meta for those areas. Like not many go out in more than 2 super heavies on Fort Despair. And you normally got either a mouse and an E100 or 2 mouses. It's very rare that you have 2 E100s. And you know where they're going to go, generally, when you're commentating. But it always seems to be... It's always interested me that obviously you play tanks that you're used to and that you're relatively good at. So, for example, Ernest of APA generally only plays a 113 or a Sheridan. Realistically, he doesn't really play anything else. Now, okay, he tells me that he hasn't got an AMX-50B or whatever, or a Progetto, but he has got other tanks in his garage. He's got a mouse, he's got this, he's got that. So you guys also must have favourite tanks. I mean, Jory, I know you like the 113 and you play that a lot, and you like the E5, I believe.
Yeah, the E5 and the 215B.
Yeah,
That's
and the 215B.
Most of that. Yeah, that's
So-
the tanks I play.
And those are those the tanks that you primarily play in tournament as well? In the pro
Sorry,
tournaments?
what did you say?
Those are the tanks that you mainly play in the pro tournaments as well?
Yeah,
Just-
yeah. I play the tanks that I like and where I'm good at.
And we were just watching one of your 215B replays. And is that the same for you as well, Maddox? You generally go out in the tanks that you're more competent in, more comfortable in?
Yeah, definitely. I roll out more in. I definitely roll out more in heavies, definitely, because like we have our dedicated medium players. They are like literally purple to the bones, like really. And being in heavy tanks makes it a bit more comfortable to command, as in help coordinate the team together.
Yeah.
So usually we would have our callers being in heavy tanks, and mostly even more the IS4s or slower tanks that can put them in a commanding position
Mm-hmm.
than medium tanks that requires more focus on their own gameplay.
And what about you, Kareem? Because you guys only just missed out on the Challengers Tour this year. Are you in the same position? Do you take are you a medium player or a heavy player and just play those in the tournaments?
Yeah, I'm usually I'm not a medium guy, but I do usually play the T22. And on our team, pretty much everybody has a T22 or an IS4, but you're always going to see the same people rolling out in them.
Oh, okay.
Like, you'll notice that a lot of players, even though they're super unicums in all their tanks, they're a lot better at playing maybe an IS4 and a 215B than a Leo 1 and a T22. So yeah, it's all a sign.
And Matthew, you're about to jump into this malarkey.
Yes.
And I mean, you played many tournaments, mainly the quick tours, where you've made the strats and you've rolled out and captained the teams. Is there a particular tanks that you just pick, or are you sort of hands-on for everything?
For tanks, I usually gave them two options that can work for that strategy that I wanted to run.
Mm-hmm.
That's for I would say 80% of the time, unless I want specific tanks to counter their strategy. That's when I'll ask if someone wants to play it or comfortable in it. But if they're not comfortable in it, for example, if someone doesn't like the E5,
Yeah.
and I need an E5, I'll look for another guy. I won't
fair
force him to. I won't force him to play the tank that he's uncomfortable with.
Yeah.
Because I know he'll do better in the usual tank that he'll use versus when he used the tank that I forced him to play. If I decided to.
Well, I mean, just go back to that though, because that was something that Maddox raised, which I thought was incredibly interesting. You have dedicated medium players. So is this how most of the pro teams work? When you look at your recruitment, you're looking at where they can fit in, class-wise, tank type, TD, medium, light, heavy, etc., etc. Not just obviously the win rates and the gameplay cost a lot, but obviously you've got to look at, have we got too many heavy players, not enough medium players? And you're trying to get a happy mix, I assume.
Yeah, definitely trying to get a happy mix out of it. Interesting fact, back in the meta the previous meta of this one, which is the Progettos and 2 and 5B meta.
Yes.
Some of our we still have to invest in more towards the medium tank department.
Mm-hmm.
So on top of our dedicated medium tank players, we have to put some of our players who sometimes play medium tanks into that role as well. So we have to there are definitely some players who are comfortable with both roles, but are more comfortable, are definitely not the dedicated players. So when the meta switches, we'll usually put them in different roles according to the meta as well.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll definitely have dedicated medium players, dedicated mouse players, dedicated IS4 players. The base those meta stuff. You gotta have dedicated players for that. That's for sure. You always gonna have from now on. You definitely have one Sheridan player.
Yes.
That's dedicated.
Yes, I've seen that.
because if you're missing out on the miss out department, you're in big trouble.
Yeah, no, I've seen that. Every team has got at least one Sheridan player. I've seen that so far in the tournaments that I've been streaming. There is always at least one, and just like what I was saying about APA Ernest, he's clearly their Sheridan player because 9 times out of 10 he's in his Sheridan. So,
and having that. Just that player that's comfortable in that tank they love to drive, and him being that dedicated driver for that tank just makes it a lot more easier for the team to just focus on the issue that is more important than just try to assign roles to everybody.
Yeah, to me it's interesting because obviously a lot of us don't know what goes on behind the scenes in these pro games, and we know that you're all good players. We know that you're all super duper unicums, but I don't think many people realise how dedicated you really need to be to get to this level. And it's great stuff. Thanks, guys, for really sharing that. I mean, I'm not going to go into the strats or shit. I just want to know about you as players, how you approach it, because it's an alien world for, I would say, not being harsh, 99.9% of us, to be honest. And it's interesting to know that, you know, even though you're super duper duper unicums, you still have dedicated heavy players and dedicated, you know, mouse players, for example. That's really, really interesting. Because I know in random games, you guys can normally turn your hand to almost every tier 10. I mean, I know Jory can.
No, I can't really do that.
Oh, really?
I can, and I love all.
I actually struggle in posting numbers like Jory in tier 10 tanks. I mostly do, like, I would say I do actually do more than just average, but like just enough for professional. Like, but I'm definitely not on the level, for example, like if you see the Russian team 7 stars, even their worst player is definitely better than me by a mile in terms of per tank performance. But like, but that's where professional plays are pretty much like is interesting and diverse, because it doesn't really matter your personal skill. It just matters where you put your team and how you work as a team together, right?
Yeah, in pro play, your stats in randoms don't really matter. Like, skill is pretty even. It's just about obedience.
Yeah, I think for tournaments, I think the most important thing is how you trade with the enemy. Like, if you can trade well, then you're sorted. And when you're in a brawl, it's all about practice with your team. Like, if you know what to focus and stuff, and those little movements, if you're going to cover your friendly for HP rotation, I think those things can be trained not quickly, but I think it can be.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I look at. Hang on a minute. Fizz is telling me to. I don't know how to do that. What takeaway symbol? I don't know what that is, Fizzy. What's a takeaway symbol? Oh, minus. No, it's not working, Fizzy. Ah, there you go. Got it. Sorry, I was diverted by Fizzy telling me to lower the minimap. One thing I do notice about you, I mean, to be honest with you, the likes of, if I look at, say, you know, I have looked, if I look at Jory and Ting, and even you, Matthew, I'll be fair, I've never looked at you, Kareem, and I never looked at you, Maddox, on Blitz Stars. It's scary how you guys can get purple so much. It's horrid, to be fair, for Ruscott. It's unbelievably scary. I mean, if I just open Jory on Blitz Stars, sorry, Jory. I mean, looking just at your tier 10s, okay, you're not so good in an IS7, but everything else is over, like, it's scary. It's absolutely scary. I mean, T62, it's all around the 3,000 to 4,000 mark. And, you know, we're not talking a few hundred battles here. We're talking a lot of battles. And Ting, when I look at you, if I look at Ting, he's the same. It makes people wonder, how would you get that good in that tank? I mean, I know there's a lot of it is skill, don't get me wrong, but one of the things I've always Ting, you're the same.
Don't look at mine, I've been grinding tank. Mine's probably bad at the moment.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you clearly like the M60, and you clearly like the STB1. I mean, they're scary, and the 113. I mean, it's scary. The M60, you're ranked 75th best player in the world on the M60. That's a scary thing, and you know. And one of the things that I've noticed about you guys is it's not just the skill. Skill's got a lot to do with it, but your awareness around you is unbelievable. It's like you've got eyes everywhere. And I'm talking about in random battles. For example, I mean, I've played a lot with you, Ting. I've played a lot with Jory, and I've played a lot with Matthew. And it's your awareness around you on the battlefield is just scary. Where you can just you seem to be able to pick where to be, and it's just horrible. And you can't. I don't think anybody can learn that. To be honest with you.
Well, you can actually. For me, I learned it on World of Tanks PC because the map is a lot larger. I'm forced to be more aware of the surrounding, and I carry that over to bits. But this is just a quick fact that the first 1,000 battle-ish, I would say on PC, I am a 43% player. Just show you can improve on your awareness. So as long as you can play it and get used to it, it's an acquired skill, I would say. You will have a ceiling, no doubt, but you can train it to some extent.
I mean, Matthew, you're sitting at 28th for the WZ113G. it's scary stuff. It's you know, and not many people are going to be able to play. And Maddox, I mean, you're just the same. I mean, looking at yours, I mean, your stats. I mean, take your Leo 1. I mean, okay, it's only one battle, but your Leo 1 is scary. 5,000. I mean, that's 5,000 win 8. But taking your Object 140, you clearly like the Object 140. You've played it a lot, and you know 3,000 win 8 in that. It's scary stuff, and not many people are going to be able to get the tanks up that high. And you know, for me, for example, I mean, I'm just an average player, and I'm just happy that I managed to get into the very light blue of my tier 10s. That's my aim at the moment. And looking at how you guys play, you think, well, how are they so much different? I'm getting masteries, I'm doing well in the tanks, I'm carrying the team, blah, blah, blah. And there is something that sets you apart that isn't just skill. And the reason I'm asking that is because, yeah, I'm a YouTuber, and you will find loads of YouTube channels saying how to improve your win rate, how to do this, how to do that. And whilst you can improve your win rate, don't get me wrong, there's a difference between improving your win rate and improving your WN8. And that's the difference I see with you guys. I mean, I can drop down 4 tiers and get a win rate of 60% eventually. But it would mean jack squat. Whereas there's got to be something that separates you that's just more than just skill and talent than everybody else out there. Because when you're getting these win 8s, and all the pros have got these win 8s of super massive Unicum in tier 10, you've got to be doing something different, and I just don't know what it is. Other than your awareness on the battlefield is just outstanding.
Also, confidence is massive.
Well, yeah, that would go there.
Went
But
up
they
to
enjoy-
Unicum.
Maybe because we know our tanks in and out, and we also know what the enemy team is rolling in. So we can just compare it. For example, if I'm driving the IS-4 and I just poked and there's an E100 on the other side and both of us shot, I know for a fact that I can at least put one more shot into him and then back up. Whereas if you're fighting a WZ113, even though they have a similar gun as with the IS-4, I meant, but the 113 has a lot faster reload time and much higher DPM.
It's funny you should say that, because yes, I do agree with you there. Knowing not only your tank, but also knowing the other tanks does help, because knowing the other tanks, you know what the reload is going to be, and you know how fast they're going to be able to get out of the way or whatever. Hit points is neither here nor there, and a lot of lower win rate players or less experienced players don't necessarily realise that tank is on a long reload, and I'm going to be able to out reload him or whatever. So yes, but I mean that is part of your skill, knowing these things. but there's still got to be something else that just clicks. The reason I'm being a pain in the arse on this is because, as I said, I hate doing videos saying that if you do this, you'll improve no end, because I don't. You can practice and practice and practice, and you can get better at the game. Don't get me wrong. You can drop down tiers and you can increase your win rate. The more experience you get, the greater you are in going to get your win rate increased. But there are a lot of videos out there that sort of say to people, you can get to 60% if you follow these 10 tips. And I don't think it's that easy, really, to get into these upper echelons of super players without a lot of things going for you. And as I said, when I've seen, for example, the replays and when I played battles with you guys, and I'm talking, Matthew, Jory, and Ting here primarily, so I apologise to everybody else, but your awareness on the battlefield is like completely different to mine. It's that's something you don't learn. I don't think. I think that's something that's part of your skill that can't be emulated.
Can I just say, if anyone wants to watching this now, after you watch all those videos on tips and stuff, just go watch World of Tanks PC streamers, and then play a lot of ratings and take it seriously. And just don't complain about your teammates, just play. And in no time you'll have increased 200 WNA to 300. It's really...
Yeah. No, that's a good point, Kareem. That is a good point. We do get a lot of that. We do get a lot of people complaining a lot when they're the ones to die first. And no, I agree with you there. We should concentrate more. And you're right. Playing ratings is completely different. It's a lot harder, in my opinion, and it does require a lot more focus. And yeah, you're right. I believe you're right there. If you play to a higher level, eventually you will get better. But there's still a big differential between the likes of me and Jory, for example. A huge differential. And it's not just because I've got bad ping.
There's also stuff like, I don't know if it goes for the other people here that are very good, but when I see a lot of YouTube videos where YouTubers say, don't lose any of your HP. You should keep all of your HP for the end of the battle, right? And to a certain extent, I agree with that. But at the same time, when I play, if I can do 600 damage and take 400 in return, I'll take it. I'll never complain about that. I won't even think about it, right? And meanwhile, I see a lot of the worst players just camping behind a hill, trying not to get shot, and they don't get any shots off. So I'd like to know if for the other people it's the same, like small things like that.
Yeah.
What I can see, what differentiates mostly common people and experienced people, not only by knowledge, is just map and awareness and taking advantageous position and always trying to keep some kind of distance and getting themselves out of positions where they can get.
Hi, DJ Khaled.
If you haven't noticed.
Yeah, man. I tell you, he's juicy. Yeah, he's a law unto himself.
Way more
though.
cautious, way more in the back, keeping himself and someone. Basically, sometimes using me as a meat shield, but it's okay. But yeah, they're mostly far more cautious, take actions and try to maximize their effect on battlefield.
Yeah. You only want to be taking a fight with one person at a time, really. If you're gonna have to trade, only one person, and if you're shooting more than one person, then have a teammate take the hits for you. That's always really nice.
Yeah, I do see a lot of that, unfortunately. I see a lot of people getting into trouble, and then instead of trying to get out of trouble, they try and get further into trouble, so to speak. And, you've got, for example, the other day I was in a ratings battle. We had one medium trying to take on 3 heavies when the rest of the team were not able to assist. He should have just got out of there, and it was no surprise he got wasted. But some of that comes with experience, I think. What doesn't come with experience? A lot of it does come with experience. Don't get me wrong, but for example, I played with Jory the other day, and okay, it was realistic. It didn't really count for Jack, but the way, for example, Jory moves from placement to placement in the tank, always, and he was in 2, I think you were in the 215B, I can't remember, but you're always hauled down, always. And there's a lot of that doesn't happen with the newer players and the less experienced and the lower win rate players. We generally don't know the maps as well as you guys. That's one thing, I think. Mm-hmm. Because knowing those positions where you can put the tank does help you a lot.
That's definitely true.
Yeah.
I recently started playing a new game that I'm not gonna speak the name of,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm basically getting wrecked right now because I have no idea how the map works, how positioning works.
Yeah.
So currently in that new game, I'm just being wrecked all over the place, and I think that's. I'm trying to always. I'm a bit sort of. I'm guessing I'm a bit rushed trying to get the knowledge in.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I can't really because I need to actually try and fail before I can learn what's actually right and wrong. And I think it's really that attitude that separates the better players to the less good players. Because if you look back to my long ago statistics that when I started playing this game, I rushed through the tier 10, I got my 205B, but look what that's done to my stats. I'm getting 45% in my Black Prince, 47%, 43% in my Carnarvon, 45% in my Conqueror, and my 205B stats is also 40-something%.
Yeah.
Or like something along the lines of that. But that time I have a real life friend that played with like a lot, but he was better than me in all of his stats. So it was like, okay, let me look at his stats. So he has 2 times of my damage ratio. He has 2 times of my destruction ratio. Okay, let's see what tank is he good at. He's good at a T43, blah 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 blah, and I think for new players, for less experienced players, I think the first goal is to identify a role model. For this case, in my case, is my friend that's very good in the game. So the next thing is that I picked and second thing is that the second thing is to pick a tank that you think you pick a tank. Just pick a random tank. For me, I picked the T43. I started with the T43, and I basically start playing that tank over and over again. Change up things if it doesn't work. Try something new. Try this. Try that. Try everything I can until I'm satisfied with it, and then try to apply that same thing onto like a tank that is general, like a medium. A medium is very versatile. It's very general. Anything you can do with that tank, you can do pretty much. No, anything that any tank can do can pretty much be done in that tank, in the Russian medium. So I picked the Russian medium and basically try to learn through the game mechanics, learn through the maps, learn what I can be doing, learn what I can't be doing. Just try to pick that general tank that.
No, I see. I completely agree with you there. I mean, up until recently, I absolutely hated the 113. Hated it. And Matthew will tell you, I absolutely hated the tank. And then I had a chat with Jory. And I love that tank. Okay, it's taken me a bit of time to get used to its nuances and the way it plays. But Jory told me to play it in a certain way, gave me a couple of tips. And I think that tank is fantastic now. In fact, it's one of my better tier 10s. And it's those type of things that eventually I want to sort of share with the community rather than, don't YOLO. Everybody knows don't YOLO. In things like this, because there's a lot more to this game than just farming at the back and YOLOing at the front, to be honest. And I just see a lot of the. Well, this is the problem I've got there. I just see a lot of the YouTube videos for Blitz primarily, and I'm not calling anybody out here. I'm equally as bad and equally as guilty. That we give shit tips. To be fair, sometimes.
But that's because there's so much more that goes into the game. So
yeah.
They like do basic stuff, but that's only useful for people that are at tier 4, maybe.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, and you know, I was speaking to Zerd the other day, and I was saying to him, I said, look, you know, I know the game, I know this, I know that, but I'm so inexperienced at tier 10 tournaments. It comes out in the commentary, and it does, because I'm not an experienced tier 10 player in tournaments. And we're having a really good chat about it. And this is one of the reasons why I rolled out with Zenith, to get more knowledge at that level to help to basically do commentary on it. Because, to be fair, I'm pretty much of a fake compared to the other commentators. And I've seen the same videos as most people. I've seen the videos that say do this, do this, do this, and I'll be honest with you, they help a little bit, but they don't help realistically, because there's more to this game. And we could all sit here, and I'm one of those who does sit here and say, oh wow, you know, I had a shit team. And yeah, okay, you can get a crap team, you can get bad MM, but if you're good enough, then you can still play a good game. Okay, you're not going to win every game, you're going to get wasted, of course. But is it the team that lets you down, or is it you that let you down? Is the point.
You know what you should do? Now that you have all these Unicums here, you should ask people to send you bad replays, and we criticize. I mean, we give them feedback.
Fugit', I have a replay of a 5.2k damage in Object.
There's another Unicum there, Ruby Warrior. Hello.
No, he's not.
Oh, isn't
I'm
he?
not a Unicum.
I thought you were.
No.
Did you drop?
Well, according
He
to
was never
Blitzstars, I
a
am.
Unicum.
I just love the way that Matthew quickly jumps in.
No, I look at almost like everyone.
I don't look at everybody. I'll be honest with you.
Oh, that's just.
I don't, unfortunately. I should.
He is too professional for all of us. Admit.
because on their stats, you know what part you can improve on for your own gameplay.
Well, that's what I do in my own head. I look at my blitz stars and say, well, I know I'm shit at that, and I know I'm really bad in this tank, and I know that when I look at the stats here, I'm YOLOing and I'm rushing and I'm doing that. And a lot of the newer players don't do that. I know that, but that's come with experience. Nobody told me how to use blitz stars. You sort of have to guess it yourself, and there is nobody teaching that side of the game, I must admit. But I mean, I'm a bit naughty because I do roll out with these super unicums in platoons, not because I want them to carry me, but because I want to learn how they play, basically. And I watch them a lot.
They take your damage.
I watch them a lot. And that's what I do when I roll out with them. When I roll out with Ting, I'm not trying to compete with him. I'm trying to watch to see what he does. Same when I roll out with Jory and when I roll out with Matthew. I'm just interested to see how they play the game and what I can learn from their style of play. And I think that's missing a lot in some of the YouTube stuff that people do. It's great seeing massive damage games. Don't get me wrong. It's lovely to see that. But not all games are massive damage. And I mean, Jory, you sent me two 215Bs back-to-back masteries the other day, and the gameplay in those is pretty similar. I noticed, and it's those things that, and it's like Kareem, you sent me a few videos, one on Middleburg, I think, and was it 1-2 wood? I can't remember now. And it's the way you guys are playing that should be shown, moreover, than the amount of damage you're doing, because the idea surely is about winning the game, isn't it? And that increases your win rate, and it doesn't matter if you get a mastery or not, as long as you're getting good damage. That increases. I mean, what is it? I mean, for example, who have we got here? Who have I got open at the moment? Kareem, yeah, I've got you. I mean, your average damage is just below 2,000. Matthew, yours is, for this month, for the last 30 days, your career is 2,300. God knows what yours is. I mean, these are big damage figures. And you're not playing just derp tanks, I've noticed. And Jory, Jory, your average damage for the 30 days is 3,300, for damn sake. after 400 battles.
Are unreliable.
Yeah, but you're not. But the thing is, you're doing a lot of damage all the time. I mean, my damage for example, for the last 30 days is somewhere in the region of 3,000 and something. But my career damage is shit. It's 1,220 or something like that. And yeah, my average damage for 30 days is 2,000, whereas for overall career it's only 1,200. This is nowhere near your guys' level. That's the difference. That is it's a big difference. It's a huge difference in damage.
Yeah.
And you can't be telling me that every single one of your games is, massive damage games all the time, because they're not. But you're still maxing out that damage a lot. And it's interesting to see that. It really is. And that's where I think we're not teaching to an extent on YouTube. And this is why I love the fact that you guys have come in, because a lot of people don't get to talk to the likes of you, to be fair. They get to see your replays, but they don't get to hear from you. And that's, I think it's quite important that the likes of you players who are top of the game, even though Ting only drops in every now and then with the chatting, for people to even hear from you is something really cool, really, really cool, because they don't get to interrogate the Unicums that much, to be fair. So thanks, guys, for letting us do that. Really appreciate it.
I'm no Unicum. I should leave.
He's a great player.
I'm not I'm a Unicum in North America, and that's about it.
Anyone can be a Unicum in North America. That's
don't burst the bubble.
I became a Unicum in you. Yay.
But
I become ultra unicum in NA.
no, yeah, it's I know, but don't burst the bubble. I'm happy. But no, seriously, guys, we don't get to ask you Unicums and you top players a lot of questions a lot of the time, and a lot of people don't hear from you. And I keep saying to everybody, just don't mob them, is what I say. So thanks for the insights, guys. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate it.
Oh, here's the tip. You need to aim as little as you can. What I mean is, if you stop and aim, especially in the medium, you need to aim as with the least amount of time as you want, or as you must. Because by that you can limit the amount of time the enemy has to aim at you.
Try to maybe always go hull down, in my opinion.
Hull down is kind of a tricky one though, because when you're in a tank that has no gun depression, like I would say 70 to 80% of the hull down position.
To be fair, I've always wondered that. So again, for Jory and Maddox, I'm sorry I'm picking on you two guys today. When you're in the Pro Tours, do you use sniper mode a lot?
I do.
Interesting.
That's actually a good question.
But I normally use it as well. Because
if I'm shooting at... Okay, you go first.
Sometimes when I don't use sniper mode, I miss a shot, and if I do it in a tournament,
every shot is...
the captain will kill me.
I bet, yeah.
Like when in a brawl...
Hang on, Maddox, what about you?
For me, it's actually a bit... Well, probably it's because of my bad habits, but I do actually mix a bit of no scopes of like just per person aiming with sniper mode in tournaments, because I have to actually sometimes call out for targets for the team, and just scoping in that just gives you that bit of a disadvantage. You have to look a bit more to your surroundings to look for a potential target that's actually you should be shooting instead of the one you're shooting right now. So I do actually have but that makes me have less of effectiveness when it comes to penning my shots sometimes. So it's actually 50-50, I would say. It comes with merits, but it also comes with its downsides.
What I try to do is mostly be in and out of sniper mode and switch constantly. Because when I'm out, just to see what is around, and in just to connect shots. But, like basically 55% of my...
Everybody's watching you right now, not Banana Joe, in your Progetto M40 Mod 65 on Oasis Palm, seeing if you're doing in and out.
So many positive ways. Maybe we can't lose.
They can see.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a replay. Such nice community.
Yeah, with
Basically-
the sniper mode thing. I use sniper mode when I wanted to shoot an aim at something. Like, even if in
Yeah,
a
but
brawl,
that's
if I'm
obvious,
not-
right?
Yeah,
That's...
but I noticed Fugit when he's brawling. Even after he shot, when he's reloading his gun, he kept on staying on.
No,
sniper view.
that's a bad habit I've picked up recently, to be honest with you. I never used to do that. In fact, I did a video saying when you brawl, don't be in sniper mode. And it's a bad habit I've picked up recently. Because as I said, about a year ago, I did a video saying when you're in a brawl, guys, don't go into sniper mode. You're looking for bouncing the shots and penning. And it doesn't matter if you bounce, as long as you're bouncing them bouncing you, because you'll find eventually where they are. You can dip into sniper mode every now and then. So that's just a bad habit I've picked up over the last few months, and I don't know where that's come from, and I'm trying to get rid of it, to be fair. Yeah, no, I've noticed that as well, Matthew. It's annoying me because it's a bad habit I've picked up.
Yeah, I saw you doing that, and I just thought that like maybe the average player also does that. That means your awareness of the situation that you're in when you're in a brawl or even not in a brawl.
Yeah,
I
it
think
goes down.
becomes a lot less.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
For me, I use auto. No, not auto aim. I use third-person shooting when I want
Fucking
to
bollocks,
shoot.
G-
Maybe
Getting
beside like.
pushed into the fucking enemies
Oh,
with.
for fuck's sake! Shut the fuck up, you noob. When I want to shoot around the corner, if I want to poke, I'll use third person most of the time.
Yeah.
But when I want the precise fire, when I want to aim at weak spots, then there I'll use the sniper view. I would say 60% of my shots is in sniper view, and the rest are on third person, because I like knowing what comes behind me and what's going on with the left side, to my right or to my right, to my left. Sorry. So I think that's just personal preference, and if you can make third person work and you can still aim for those weak spots that you need to,
Sure,
I think there's
find-
no problem you using third person.
I still think third person is better in only light tanks and maybe brawls, but because when you like circle, you can you need to have some situation of awareness to not get derped.
See, that's why I said
That
I
really
mostly
goes to
agree.
show that, there's a lot of different preferences, and there's really no a certain correct way to do it. Even if you just ask the pros, you get different answers from everybody, and yeah, there's always gonna be players who prefer to do it a certain way. Certainly, you heard from Aminet, she likes to do it in all sniper mode.
All sniper mode, yeah, all the time.
And she's still basically hammering the numbers out, and it's just amazing to see how she works that out.
Yeah.
And yeah, like if that works for her, that works for her. If this mode works for you, then yeah, you should subscribe to it yourself. I think it doesn't really well, when people say mimicking something is a part of learning, you don't want to mimic to every single detail. You want to have some of your mix or your own style in it. So
just try it out, see if it's comfortable with you. Like, choose the method that you're most comfortable in.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, I mean, if you ever watch Aminet play, most of her game is in sniper mode, and she's comfortable in that, and that's her gameplay, and she's used to that, and she's obviously very used to that. some players auto aim, not auto aim. It's should you, shouldn't you? I don't know. Auto aim is okay, but it can screw you over because it will pick up another tank if another tank is next to it. So having auto aim disconnected sometimes in sniper mode is not a bad thing, I don't think.
Yeah. When you derp, I think it's better to don't use auto aim.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. If you're on a derp, it's better not to. If you're on a 183 or the big derpy guns, then yes, I wouldn't do that. I would keep the auto aim on because it's helpful. But if you're, for example, if you're in a heavy, sometimes it's not helpful. I mean, for example, if you're in a medium and you're facing up against an E100, then you want to be able to get to that lower plate a lot quicker, and the auto aim doesn't want you to go to the lower plate a lot of the time. So it's again though, it's personal choice and it's what you've got used to, and a lot of people are not used to it, unfortunately, and it is difficult. Let's be honest. But what do you guys do? I mean, do you guys have auto aim? I mean, Maddox, Jory, Kareem, Matthew, do you have auto aim on or off or what?
I always have auto aim on.
So Jory's always got it on. Maddox?
So this is actually an interesting point as well. Well, to be honest, back in 2018 when I started playing professionals, I had auto aim on in sniper mode.
Okay.
And so I recently slowly picked up, I wouldn't say a skill, more like a habit of trying to turn it off in sniper mode.
Okay.
When I played it on the phone and I used the arcade sniping, I don't know.
What about you? Yeah, okay. So Ruby uses it and sort of doesn't use it. What about you, Matthew?
I have the button. I never use auto aim on sniper mode. But on third person, when I want to get that snapshot in, when I'm going into a position and then just want to get that shot in, it hits or not, whatever, I use auto aim then.
Yeah.
But I would say 5%, maybe 10% of my shots are using auto aim.
Okay. What about you, Kareem?
Yeah, but it's more, when I use it, it's just for lightly armored targets, or when I'm shooting at the side of a tank that doesn't have much space.
Okay.
Otherwise, I just turn it off.
Okay, that's fair enough.
98% of time I have the button and use it on, but mostly I have this habit to fight sometimes against it and use it just to correct a bit of my shot when I do wacky stuff with turning.
Okay.
But yeah, I think still maybe it's a personal preference, but I like the old auto aim system and just fight.
I use the old one.
Yeah, I use the old one. I use the old one as well.
Well, I do have a question though. Like, besides just versus off and on, so the different style. Like, if you choose to have it on or choose to have it off, do you often do you use the same firing position, or do you often have to change your style with a different firing option?
No, it doesn't change. Like for me, auto aim is only like an 8 for some situation. Like so, when I said just now that when I want to get into position and get the shot in, or when I'm shooting at the light tank that's stationary and I want to poke a little bit, I use auto aim to help my shots to be more accurate.
Hi, Viper.
But otherwise, you can't.
Yeah. Do you have two fire buttons though? Yeah.
I have two actually.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. Just a quick question from YouTube. This is from Javi saying, trying to reach the Japanese. Oh, sorry. What is it? He said, I've been trying. I'm new to the game, so I'd like some advice. What would be a good choice of nation for tank destroyers? Now, my initial reaction would be Germany.
No. The Russian object.
Yeah, OBJ-268 line.
There you go. So
medium and heavy line.
That line that isn't OP. It's the same.
So there you go, Javid. The Russian TD line is the one you should be looking for.
because the Russian 268 line is like the most traditional for TD playstyle. Like you don't have like odd tanks such as the Foch with you that you can brawl. Like the Chinese CD, the GFT, the tier 10. Like it doesn't have those weird tanks that you need to brawl in versus the other nations.
Yeah, they're all good snipers, and you can brawl in them as well because they all have decent DPM and all.
And they have fun guns when you reach.
Well, the thing I found with that line is it very much teaches you angling as well.
Nope.
You know,
Really?
Well, to me it does because in a TD you're not just simply supposed to sit in the back and farm. You can have multiple roles, and you also have to know how to react when the enemy in regards to others.
Kind helps you with the sight. And German is weird.
Yeah, you can't really camp in the Jagdpanzer E100.
Do the line with no armor.
The German line will teach you how to hit your kits to shut out fires.
I took up the game because I wanted to play the likes of Tiger 1 and the Mouse and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I do like the TDs on the Russian line, I must admit. I do like them. Not a big fan of the ISU, to be honest with you. But wow. And I do like the Jagdpanther 2 and the Jagdpanther, and I do like the JP88 and the Jagdtiger. I do like those, to be fair. But
yeah, pew pew, or like you have more shots.
Yeah.
So like mistakes are more forgiving, unlike with the derpish Russian. But Russians basically, I think it's most noob friendly line, except the SU-101 line.
Oh, the most noob friendly line is the German one, but the reason so many people recommend the Russian one is because the ISU-152 is not a bad tank. And you know that the line is OP as a whole when the ISU-152 is the worst tank in the entire line. So if you're not a super good player and you don't want to have like a really painful grind, just go for the Russian one. And it's not going to be super OP, but you're going to be fine with it.
Yeah, the ISU is the worst because you need to get the BL-10 gun to make it work. While others, basically, you have it stock top gun.
It's also slow with no armor, which sucks, and the terrible accuracy. But 640 alpha does a lot of good things.
But basically you can like skip the first two guns on the last SU, which is quite nice. And then you have the tier 9 and tier 10, just go for tier 10. Prioritize getting that and you're fine. You can then go for tracks, mobility and the object.
Well, well, that's been a great. That's been a great chat. So wrapping it up as we're on TDs, the SU 130 PM is in crates, although you do get charms, so it's only going to cost you, I think, $100 if you don't get it dropping in the crate. If anybody's got it, do you think it's worth it? I mean, I've got it, and I think it's just no different to a Scorpion G in real terms, but that's just my personal call.
Statistically, Scorpion G is better.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
With the SU-130P, you're smaller and a bit speedier. So they have plus and minus, but everyone will.
It has got the Russian bias, yes.
Tell you.
Yes, but
everyone will tell you just keep the Scorpion.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, really, I appreciate allowing us to quiz you. So thanks for that. It's there's not much news other than, like I said at the beginning, and I don't want to get into any of that because that's all hearsay and whatever. So thanks for letting us quiz you on picking your brain on some of these insights. It's I hope the people on YouTube appreciated it. I know I did, and I know those who were on here earlier appreciated it as well. So thank you very much for that. I'm going to knock it on the head now. We've been on for just over an hour and a half, and I said I would never do these streams that long because it's only meant to be a chat and it's meant to be about the game. But this time, there's not much to say about the game, so we spoke to the Unicums and the pros instead. And why not? It's nice to hear from them. So big thank you guys to Not Banana Joe, Ting, Jory, Kareem, Maddox, The Deal for Real, and This Game is Rigged. And all those on YouTube, thank you for joining in. And we'll knock it on their head there. So thanks, guys, and I hopefully catch you all again very soon. Bye for now.
Thank you for that.